Boeing is under intense criticism for consistently failing to meet delivery commitments. RyanAir, one of Boeing's largest customers, has suffered significant losses due to delays in the delivery of 29 Boeing 737 MAX 8 2000 aircraft, resulting in an estimated revenue loss of €500 million in 2025. The 20-year partnership between Boeing and RyanAir is now at risk of collapse. If Boeing continues to miss deadlines, RyanAir has declared it is prepared to cancel its massive order of 300 Boeing 737 MAX jets worth a total of $30 billion and switch to competitors like Airbus or even China's COMAC. RyanAir isn't alone. Boeing also risks losing other major clients, including KLM and Emirates. So, what is Boeing's response? The conflict between RyanAir and Boeing is not a sudden burst of anger, but a story that has been building for years. Michael O'Leary has never been afraid to speak his mind, especially when the company's growth and reputation are at stake. The relationship began to strain in early 2020 when Boeing failed to deliver aircraft on schedule, forcing RyanAir to rethink its summer plans. O'Leary warned that if the delays continued, the airline might have to cut jobs and even close some bases. For a carrier that relies on tight schedules and a full fleet to keep ticket prices low, this was more than an inconvenience. By 2022, his tone had sharpened into open frustration. During an investor call, O'Leary criticized Boeing's leadership for lacking organization and focus, suggesting they needed a complete reset to get back on track. He blamed poor internal coordination for the missed deadlines and even questioned whether remote work at Boeing was adding to the chaos. The message was clear: patience was running out, and RyanAir could not afford to wait forever. In 2024, the situation took a disturbing turn. After an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 experienced a mid-air emergency, when a door panel detached, RyanAir inspected some of its own newly delivered planes. What they found shocked them. Tools such as wrenches had been left inside the aircraft. For O'Leary, this was not just about delays anymore. It was about safety and trust. Leaving foreign objects in a plane's structure was the kind of basic error that should never happen in a company with Boeing's history. By early 2025, the consequences of these repeated setbacks were visible in RyanAir's financial reports. The airline projected a loss of around €500 million in potential revenue due to the ongoing delays, even after receiving partial compensation from Boeing. Passenger targets for 2026 had to be reduced from 215 million to 206 million because there simply wouldn't be enough aircraft to meet demand. Profit after tax for the year ending March 2025 fell by 16% compared to the previous year. For a business built on efficiency and scale, the cost of waiting was becoming unbearable. The public nature of O'Leary's criticism is what makes this feud so remarkable. While many airline executives choose to negotiate behind closed doors, he has taken his complaints to interviews, press conferences, and shareholder meetings. Each statement sends a signal not only to Boeing, but to the entire aviation industry that RyanAir will not tolerate broken promises. It also puts pressure on Boeing from another angle. The more the public hears about the delays, the greater the damage to the manufacturer's reputation. This long trail of missed deadlines, harsh words, and damaged trust has brought the two companies to a crossroads. For RyanAir, the question is whether Boeing can deliver on its promises before the airline starts looking for other suppliers. For Boeing, the stakes are even higher. Losing one of its largest and most loyal customers could trigger a wave of defections across the industry. So after years of tension, the real question now is, what exactly has caused Boeing to fall so far behind on its deliveries? Boeing's failure to meet RyanAir's delivery schedule is not the result of one single problem. It is the outcome of years of quality control issues, outdated systems, and mounting regulatory pressure. The trouble begins inside Boeing's factories, where inspectors from the Federal Aviation Administration have found patterns that raise serious concerns about how aircraft are built and checked before leaving the production line. In early 2024, a detailed FAA audit revealed that Boeing failed 33 of the 89 product inspections carried out, with a total of 97 separate non-compliance findings. These were not minor paperwork mistakes. They included shocking examples like mechanics using a hotel room key card to check the fit of a door seal. Such improvised shortcuts not only break safety rules but also suggest that the company's internal oversight has been weakened over time. The audit findings also highlight another worrying point. Some of these methods were not documented in the production process, meaning they could have been happening for years without official records. For airlines like RyanAir, which rely on predictable schedules and dependable safety standards, this creates a deep sense of uncertainty. An aircraft delayed by weeks is costly, but an aircraft delivered with hidden quality problems is a threat to both passengers and brand reputation. After the Alaska Airlines mid-air door panel incident, this kind of news only reinforced fears that Boeing's assembly lines were not operating at the level the industry demands. Beyond factory floor mistakes, the design of certain systems on the 737 MAX 10 itself has caused additional setbacks. The cockpit alert system, for example, is based on a framework from the 1960s. Instead of displaying clear text messages for each fault, it uses a general master caution warning, forcing pilots to search through multiple panels to identify the issue. While this might have been acceptable decades ago, modern safety standards require faster, more direct communication between the aircraft systems and its crew. This gap has not gone unnoticed by regulators, and Boeing has been lobbying for an exemption from updating the design, an approach that has only added more time to the certification process. The anti-ice system is another technical challenge slowing progress. Designed to prevent dangerous ice buildup on engines in cold, wet weather, it has been found to overheat if left running for long periods, potentially damaging engine components. Any defect that risks damaging an engine in flight is taken extremely seriously, so regulators have demanded a redesign. Engineering teams now face the task of making these fixes without creating new problems or causing more certification delays. When combined with existing manufacturing bottlenecks, these redesigns push delivery timelines further into the future. Supply chain pressure makes the situation even more fragile. Boeing's network of suppliers has struggled with parts shortages and delivery delays since the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted global logistics. Specialized components for the 737 MAX are sourced from multiple countries, and if even one part is late, the entire assembly schedule can be thrown off. While most manufacturers face similar issues, Boeing's current backlog makes every disruption more painful. All these factors are made worse by the increased scrutiny of the FAA. Since the fatal crashes of the 737 MAX 8 in 2018 and 2019, U.S. regulators have taken a far more hands-on role in certifying Boeing's aircraft. The crashes were linked to the MCAS flight control system, a piece of software Boeing had initially left out of pilot manuals to avoid costly training requirements. The backlash from that decision nearly destroyed the MAX program and cost Boeing billions. Now, every change to the MAX 10 is reviewed in detail, adding layers of oversight that extend certification timelines. This is not just about paperwork. It means every technical fix must be proven beyond doubt before an aircraft can be delivered. For RyanAir, these problems translate into grounded growth plans and shrinking profit margins. With each missed delivery, the cost of idle crews, lost route opportunities, and higher maintenance on older jets rises. Even with compensation payments from Boeing, the financial hit is significant, and no amount of money can recover lost time in the competitive low-cost market. O'Leary has made it clear that his airline cannot keep absorbing these losses without considering other suppliers. Those potential suppliers are watching closely. Airbus, with its A320neo family, offers a modern, fuel-efficient alternative that matches Ryanair's needs for capacity and range. Chinese manufacturer COMAC is also eager to break into the European market with its C919, promising lower prices and timely deliveries. The C919's main barrier is regulatory. Certification by the European Union Aviation Safety Agency could take 3 to 6 years. Still, if Boeing continues to falter, Ryanair might decide that waiting for COMAC's approval is worth the long-term stability it could bring. The real danger for Boeing is that Ryanair's frustration is playing out in public. Every statement from O'Leary, every media headline about missed deadlines or factory shortcuts, chips away at the trust that Boeing needs to compete. Other airlines have already moved their business to Airbus after similar delays, including major names like KLM and Emirates. If Ryanair joins that list, it would send a powerful signal to the market that Boeing is no longer a dependable partner for high-volume, time-sensitive orders. The combination of internal flaws, technical setbacks, supply chain weakness, and regulatory pressure has created a storm that Boeing cannot ignore. That means cleaning up production practices, modernizing outdated systems, and proving to regulators and customers that safety is the priority over speed or profit. The question is whether Boeing can make these changes fast enough to prevent Ryanair from taking its orders elsewhere. So as the delays pile up and the competition circles closer, one question grows louder. If Boeing cannot deliver for Ryanair now, what will stop other airlines from walking away next? While Boeing struggles to meet its commitments, its competitors are watching with interest. For Airbus, every delay from Boeing is a potential opening to win over one of the largest low-cost carriers in the world. It can carry between 180 and 194 passengers, which matches the high-density seating that Ryanair uses to keep costs low and maximize revenue per flight. In addition, the aircraft's performance makes it suitable for both short and medium-haul routes, offering flexibility that is crucial for a network covering over 40 countries. For a carrier that thrives on quick turnarounds and minimal downtime, this type of aircraft could be a perfect replacement if Boeing cannot deliver. Airbus also has a strong track record of securing deals when its American rival stumbles. In recent years, major airlines such as KLM, Emirates, and Cathay Pacific have shifted significant orders from Boeing to Airbus after facing similar delivery delays. This not only gives Airbus more market share, but also strengthens its image as a reliable partner for high-volume orders. For Ryanair, seeing these airlines make the switch might reinforce the idea that staying with Boeing could be a risk rather than a safe bet. Then there is COMAC, China's state-backed aircraft manufacturer, which is aiming to enter the European market. Its C919 model, already in service in China, has specifications that could appeal to Ryanair's needs. Depending on configuration, the jet can seat between 158 and 192 passengers and offers 2 range versions: a standard model capable of 2,200 nautical miles and an extended range version reaching up to 3,000 nautical miles. The C919 is positioned as a lower-cost alternative to both Boeing and Airbus, and COMAC has signaled a willingness to provide attractive pricing and guaranteed delivery schedules to win customers. For an airline watching every euro of its budget, that kind of offer could be difficult to ignore. The biggest challenge for COMAC is certification in Europe. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency estimates that it could take 3 to 6 years before the C919 is approved for operation in EU airspace. That timeline means Ryanair cannot rely on COMAC for immediate fleet expansion, but it also means that a long-term strategy could include the Chinese jet if Boeing's problems persist. Michael O'Leary himself has stated that if COMAC can meet 4 conditions: competitive pricing, on-time delivery, high operational efficiency, and top-tier safety, RyanAir would seriously consider placing an order. This possibility has already drawn political attention. In April 2025, U.S. Representative Raja Krishnamurthy warned RyanAir against purchasing Chinese-made aircraft, citing concerns over ties between COMAC and the Chinese military, as well as allegations of intellectual property theft. The warning reflects broader geopolitical tensions between the United States and China, tensions that now reach directly into the global aviation market. For RyanAir, these political factors add another layer of complexity to any future decision about diversifying its suppliers. The competitive threat to Boeing is not just about losing one customer. If RyanAir, a company that has operated an all-Boeing fleet for decades, decides to bring in Airbus or COMAC, the psychological impact on the industry would be significant. Other airlines might see RyanAir's move as proof that switching suppliers is both possible and beneficial. This could trigger a wider shift in purchasing strategies, eroding Boeing's market share even further and forcing the company to fight for contracts it once could have counted on without question. For now, RyanAir remains in a position to negotiate. Its existing orders give it leverage, and the public criticism from O'Leary ensures that Boeing's leadership knows the stakes. But leverage is only valuable if it can produce results. If Boeing fails to show progress quickly, RyanAir will have to decide whether to wait and hope for improvement or take decisive action by exploring deals with competitors. Either choice will send ripples through the aviation industry, influencing not only manufacturers but also suppliers, regulators, and even passengers who care about reliability and safety. Airbus is ready to expand its foothold, COMAC is eager to make its mark, and Boeing is at risk of losing more than just orders. It could lose the trust that keeps airlines loyal in the long run. The question now is whether Boeing can act fast enough to close the gap before its rivals take the lead. Because if the competition captures RyanAir's business, it won't just be a lost deal. It could be the start of a much larger shift in the balance of power in commercial aviation. So, with rivals closing in and the clock ticking, what steps can Boeing take to repair its relationship with RyanAir and protect its place in the industry? Boeing's only path to keeping RyanAir is to prove, beyond doubt, that it can deliver on time and without excuses. The airline has been patient in the past, but patience is running out, and every month of delay costs RyanAir millions in lost capacity and missed opportunities. To stop the damage, Boeing must set clear production goals and meet them without further slippage. This means increasing the efficiency of its assembly lines, ensuring that supply chain partners meet deadlines, and assigning more resources to quality control. For RyanAir, promises are no longer enough. Only planes on the tarmac will rebuild trust. Another critical step is transparency. If parts shortages or technical issues arise, RyanAir expects to hear about them immediately, not months later when delivery dates are already broken. A system of regular progress reports shared directly with the airline's leadership could demonstrate that Boeing is serious about partnership rather than just sales. Trust, once lost, can take years to rebuild, and for Boeing, that process must start now. Boeing also needs to offer financial incentives to keep RyanAir in its corner. Discounted pricing, flexible payment schedules, and compensation for delays are all tools that could help ease the tension. In past disputes, Boeing has sometimes offered airlines short-term lease options to cover gaps in delivery schedules. A similar arrangement for RyanAir could prevent disruptions to its summer and winter flight programs, which are critical periods for revenue. These gestures may cost Boeing money in the short term, but losing RyanAir entirely would be far more expensive in the long run. Improving after-sales support is another area where Boeing can strengthen its position. RyanAir operates hundreds of Boeing aircraft, and keeping those jets flying safely and efficiently is as important as delivering new ones. By increasing the availability of spare parts, providing faster technical assistance, and assigning dedicated engineering teams to RyanAir, Boeing can show that it values the airline not just as a buyer, but as a long-term partner. In the competitive world of aviation, ongoing support often matters as much as the aircraft themselves. There is also the question of innovation. RyanAir is not known for chasing luxury features, but it is deeply focused on operational efficiency. If Boeing can present upgrades that reduce fuel burn, cut maintenance time, or extend the lifespan of key components, it would align perfectly with RyanAir's cost-driven strategy. For example, integrating lighter materials or advanced avionics that streamline turnaround procedures could save the airline significant money over the life of the aircraft. Such improvements would make staying with Boeing a decision based on measurable benefits, not just brand loyalty. Finally, Boeing must manage the public narrative. The tension between Boeing and RyanAir has already made headlines, and in an age where perception can shape reality, controlling the message is vital. Joint press conferences, factory visits for RyanAir executives, and public commitments to delivery schedules could help shift the tone from conflict to cooperation. If passengers see that the two companies are working together toward a solution, it could soften the reputational blow for both sides. Boeing's leadership knows this is more than a single contract. It is a test of whether the company can adapt, listen, and act under pressure in a market where competitors are ready to move in at the first sign of weakness. If Boeing fails, the loss of RyanAir could spark a chain reaction of defections by other airlines, accelerating a decline that would take years to reverse. But if it succeeds, Boeing could turn this crisis into proof that it can recover from setbacks and deliver for its most demanding customers. The question now is whether Boeing can make these changes fast enough to stop RyanAir from walking away. Because if it cannot, the next move will be out of its hands and entirely in the control of its rivals. So, if Boeing's future with RyanAir hangs in the balance, what role will Michael O'Leary himself play in deciding how this high-stakes standoff ends? Michael O'Leary has built his entire career on bold decisions, and this moment may be the most important of all. Known for his direct style and refusal to back down, he has turned RyanAir into Europe's largest low-cost airline by pushing harder, moving faster, and taking risks other executives avoided. Now, with Boeing's delays threatening RyanAir's growth, O'Leary is weighing his options with the same sharp instinct that has defined his leadership. For him, this is not just about getting planes on time, it is about protecting RyanAir's future. O'Leary understands the power of leverage. Over the years, he has used public pressure, tough contract negotiations, and bold statements to secure better terms from suppliers. In this case, his most powerful weapon is choice. By openly meeting with Airbus representatives and signaling his willingness to diversify RyanAir's fleet, he has put Boeing in a position where every delay carries the risk of losing its biggest European customer. This is a calculated move designed to make Boeing act faster or face a historic loss. Behind the scenes, O'Leary is also preparing for a scenario where Boeing cannot meet its promises. RyanAir's operations depend on adding new planes each year to expand routes and keep ticket prices low. If Boeing falls short, O'Leary could turn to leasing companies to fill the gap. While leased aircraft are more expensive in the short term, they would allow RyanAir to keep growing without being tied to Boeing's schedule. For an airline built on aggressive expansion, standing still is never an option. O'Leary is not afraid to take the fight public. In past disputes, he has used the media to shape the narrative, framing RyanAir as the customer demanding accountability and Boeing as the supplier failing to deliver. This strategy works because it speaks directly to shareholders, regulators, and passengers. By making the issue visible, O'Leary increases the pressure on Boeing's leadership to solve problems quickly. Every headline about delays hurts Boeing's stock and reputation, which is exactly the leverage O'Leary needs. Still, his approach is not purely confrontational. O'Leary knows that in aviation, long-term relationships matter, and burning bridges can close off future opportunities. Even as he applies pressure, he leaves the door open for Boeing to win back RyanAir's trust. That means he is willing to negotiate revised delivery schedules, accept interim solutions, and explore joint initiatives that could benefit both sides. If Boeing delivers, O'Leary can position himself as the leader who pushed for change and got results. Airbus is currently facing its own production backlog, and switching suppliers is not as simple as signing a new contract. Training pilots, retooling maintenance systems, and adjusting schedules for a new aircraft type would be a massive undertaking. O'Leary must weigh the short-term gains of diversification against the long-term costs and operational challenges it would bring. This is why his current strategy is a balance, pushing Boeing to act while keeping other options ready. For O'Leary, this is about more than planes and delivery dates. It is about proving that RyanAir's growth model can survive supply chain crises, industry shifts, and manufacturer struggles. And it is about reminding Boeing and the entire aviation industry that RyanAir will not sit quietly when its future is at stake. If Boeing fails to respond, O'Leary will not hesitate to make a dramatic move, even if it reshapes the airline's identity. The question now is not whether O'Leary has the will to act. History has shown that he does. The real question is which path he will choose and how quickly he will take it. So, if the next move belongs to O'Leary, what does that mean for Boeing's future in Europe's most competitive aviation market? Boeing faces the risk of losing its major contract with RyanAir due to persistent delivery delays and quality control failures. Manufacturing errors, supply chain pressures, and strict regulatory requirements have damaged Boeing's reputation. RyanAir, a longtime loyal customer, has publicly criticized the company and threatened to switch to competitors like Airbus or Comac if Boeing fails to improve. This crisis presents an opportunity for Boeing to reposition itself by prioritizing quality, transparency, and innovation. The situation underscores the importance of trust and long-term collaboration in business. Success is sustainable only when companies listen to customers, embrace change, and uphold commitments. It also serves as a reminder to other industries about balancing speed and safety.